Hi, I'm the Grouchy Gardener. Well, I'm not always grouchy, but I am the Grouchy Gardener. Um, I have been getting things from my garden. I have some zucchinis and some squashes, lots of tomatoes I haven't done anything with yet, but I have all these peppers. I have been dehydrating things from my garden. Here is some zucchinis that I dehydrated. Those are the yellow zucchinis. Um, these are some vegetables that I juiced and I dehydrated the pulp to use as seasonings or to make into vegetable powder. These, these are some plums I had that half the bag was going bad and half the bag just didn't seem ripe enough. So I went ahead and sliced them up and dehydrated those. And even if they don't turn out for us, our rabbit really loves them. He's got quite a sweet tooth. Here is a large amount of green zucchinis that I julienned and then I dehydrated them. Today I'm going to do this bell pepper because I have a lot of bell peppers. I save my seeds, so that's another thing I dry. I just try not to put them too low on the stack of trays because I don't want them to get cooked. If they're dry, they work. If they're cooked, they don't work. I dry a lot of seeds in my dehydrator for next year. A lot of times what I'll do is take all the seeds from a cucumber or even a tomato and put them on paper, and they stick to paper really well. Then I have this page full of seeds that all I have to do to label it is write on what it is, and it works out really nice. And I just, usually in the top of the dehydrator, I'll just lay it across the whole shelf. I have 3 dehydrators. I didn't mean to have 3 dehydrators, but I do have 3 dehydrators. I'm going to save those seeds for later. Now, I hadn't really done a lot of thinking about how I was going to cut this green pepper, but I know that I'm going to use my mandolin for the zucchinis. I have cut the end off first. My bunny also likes my sweet grass. I can either cut them with the single julienne blade, the double julienne blade, or just slice them. I find that a lot more will fit into my dehydrator if I julienne them. This is heavy. I should have maybe, let's see if it'll go cold. Alright, they turn out quite nice. You would never guess that those would end up being this size. They actually fit really well in there. I'll come back in just a few minutes and we can go from there. Okay, so I have just on the green zucchini. I did 5 trays of zucchini and 1 tray of peppers using the mandolin to julienne them. It will take a few days. In the meantime, I'm going to put them on 2 separate dryers, do 3 trays apiece, because it'll work faster, and I figure it's easier to rotate when I come home from work tonight, I will rotate them if there's any change. There more than likely will be a change, but even if I don't rotate them stack-wise, I will need to turn these, because these are just the, cheap every kind of generic type of fruit dehydrators. I have a Ronco, and then I have a Sweeta, and I have a Caruso. They all work the same. I don't see one as better than the others. They don't have a fan in them, so I probably won't be doing anything like dehydrating eggs or sour cream. But I don't want my vegetables to go to waste. And quite frankly, the last week I have brought in buckets and buckets of vegetables. We are starting to have a fruit fly problem. Fruit flies bother me really bad. I hate having them in the house. But I also have a groundhog who is racing me for my tomatoes. So I'm bringing the tomatoes in even a couple days before they're actually all the way turned. I did find, and it sounds silly, but I drive my car all day long at work. I found if I left the tomatoes in my car that weren't ripe, it's like a mini greenhouse and they ripen right up. I found this out because on the way to work one day I stopped over at the garden on the other side of that block and picked my tomatoes. I had a few that came off with the ones I meant to pick that were just not as ripe as I would have liked them. They were pretty green. So I went ahead and just left them in the car, not even on purpose. I just get home really late at night and forgot them. And 2 days later, they were all ripe and ready to go. And then the groundhog didn't get them. So since that worked for me, and I have a hatchback, so I have a box in the car, and it sounds really weird, but I'll find things that work that will do. I did not make a tray of green pepper seeds because I have a bowl in the corner of the living room that's drying out. It's very humid here in Ohio, especially right now for the rainstorms. So I will end up having to put those in something to dry them. I do notice that if I do not do something with my dehydrated stuff, if I just take the dryer off, turn the heat off, they go from being very crispy to being limp and icky, and have to be run through the dehydrator for a few hours to get them crisped back up. So right now I'm going to put these on the dehydrator and we'll let you know how they turn out in a few days.